Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're enjoying our study together. Today I want to consider the fact that Jacob and Esau's characters were known by God before they were born. In Genesis chapter 25, verse 23, God told Rebekah, their mother, that one child would be stronger than the other, and that the older would serve the younger. Now, a question that is often asked by those who read this story, did God predestine that these two men were to have certain types of personalities? Now, if he did, then what choice did they have in the matter? Well, let's get some light on this question from 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 2. Where we read, "To God's elect who have been chosen according to the foreknowledge of God the Father, through the sanctifying work of the Spirit, for obedience to Jesus Christ." Now, as explained on page 45 of your Cover the Bible notes, because God foreknows doesn't mean that he is the cause of what he knows. For example, if you see a child run out into the street and you see a speeding car off in the distance heading that way, and you know it's about to hit that little youngster, now that's foreknowledge. But does that make you responsible for what happens next? So with God's foreknowledge, he is limited neither by time or space. But because God foreknows, it doesn't mean he causes what happens. It just means he knows what's going to happen. The word to Rebekah was a prophecy. Its purpose was to create long-term faith within the parents. Now, they were going to have heartaches galore, some caused by their own wrongdoings, some caused by the actions of their children. By telling Rebekah what to expect from each of her twins, the parents had the assurance that right and truth will prevail in the end. God, knowing those whose hearts are bent towards him in the line of the God followers, he sanctifies or sets apart. He sets apart those special people. Even when a person has not yet made the free choice to follow God and live righteously, God knows that this time is coming and responds to that life accordingly. Obedience resulted from faith on Jacob's part. God's response was to honor his obedience by providing redemption for him through the blood of Christ. You say, wait a minute. Jacob lived centuries before Jesus died on the cross. Well, that brings up another question. How were the people of the Old Testament saved? Since they lived before the coming of Christ and before his atoning death on the cross. Was there a different way of salvation for them? Absolutely not. In our next session together, this will be explained to you. But today, let's understand this important fact. Because God knows in advance what your personal choices are going to be, he knows how to relate to you. God said to Jeremiah in chapter 1, verse 5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." May I assure you, my friend, that God has loved you from eternity past. He knows your heart better than you do, and he loves you. He's always loved you. And he says, every time you seek me, you will find me. But God doesn't destroy any life by saying, before you were born, I predestined you to be a person filled with hate or lust, and you can't do anything about it. No, that is not God's way. God chooses the same thing for every man. He is not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to salvation. God no more damns some people to hell and chooses others for heaven than a judge in a courtroom arbitrarily condemns some to be hung and others to be freed. Your choices cause your consequences, not God. Here's your scripture portion for today. This is selected from Genesis chapter 25. Isaac prayed to the Lord on the behalf of his wife because she was barren. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger. The first to come out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment. So they named him Esau. After this, his brother came out with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So he was named Jacob. The two boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was a quiet man, staying among the tents." God bless you, and we will pick up this again tomorrow.